Welcome back to the 50 State Cold Case Spotlight. Today we are in Wisconsin for day 5, the last day in Wisconsin, and I am spotlighting the case of Sandra Bertolas. Sandra, 20, the youngest of 8, went by the nickname Sandy and was known to always be on the go and having fun. Her friends and family say she was the diva, the fashionista. Sandy was a part-time beautician at Cost Cutters, and she was consistently experimenting with different colors and styles, not only for her hair, but her makeup and her nails as well. Her sister Laura said she always wanted to look perfect, colorful, and glamorous before she left the house. Sandy, who lived in Menominee Falls with her parents, loved to shop, and she was quite thrifty, and even learned to sew her own creations. You would not catch her out without her large white handbag, which she carried a collection of cosmetics and hair care products because she was always prepared to make sure that her hair and makeup looked perfect. During the week, Sandy attended classes at Waukesha County Technical College studying business and marketing. Sandy had a large white car, and she would often be seen stopping for ice cream in Oscar's custard stand in Milwaukee's South Side. She frequently traveled back and forth to Menominee Falls and Milwaukee, leaving her car at a local bowling alley to carpool. Sandy's sister Paula said that she was funny, loving, and had big dreams for her life, and she was starting to finally make them happen, and they say that she was pregnant at this time. On April 24th, 1988, Sandy had spent a day at her friend's bridal shower. When she came home, she went straight to her room and started to get ready for her night out with her boyfriend. Sandy had just started recently dating this guy for about 3 months, and their entire relationship, they only met halfway points at Milwaukee for dates. After 3 months of dating, this boyfriend was never introduced to Sandy's parents or siblings, and her sister Paula could often hear the two of them arguing over the phone. At some point, Sandy figured there was something up with her boyfriend because they were only meeting at these halfway points in Milwaukee. So she had his license plate number run, and she found out that the man she was dating had given her a fake name, and he was living somewhere else than he had told her, and he was married. This was the night that Sandy was going to confront him about all of his lies. She had told all of her friends that day at the bridal shower that this was her plan. Her sister Dorothy said that night, Sandy told everyone at home goodbye, and she left the house wearing her black coat with white threads in it. When Sandy didn't come home that night, her father Albert reported her missing to the police right away. Her sister Dorothy said that Sandy is not the type not to call, saying, quote, "She always called us because she got grounded too many times for staying out past the clock," unquote. Her father always told her that he didn't care if she was going to stay at a friend's house, anywhere overnight. All she had to do was call and let them know. This is why her family was concerned, because this was uncharacteristic of Sandy. When they first spoke to the Menominee Falls Police Department, they were told that Sandy was 21 years old, she probably forgot to call, and that she would likely show up in the next few days. 3 days later, on April 27th, 1988, Sandy's friends saw Sandy's big white car abandoned in the parking lot of the Red Carpet Lanes bowling alley. Investigators would search the car and find no struggle, no blood, and nothing in the trunk, and no sight of Sandy. Sandy's family immediately started distributing posters throughout the community with a picture of Sandy, a phone number, and a listing of a $1,000 reward and a promise of anonymity for any information. It wouldn't take long for the media to pick up the story on Sandy, and that brought out some of the worst people. Their family started to get prank calls to their home saying, "Hi, Daddy, I'm your little girl," and hanging up. They said they were awful and relentless. Police ended up interviewing Sandy's boyfriend, who denied ever using a fake name and insisted that the night Sandy disappeared, he was with his longtime girlfriend at their home in Milwaukee South Side. Investigators did question his longtime girlfriend, and her statements were similar. Almost a week later, the boyfriend would call the Menominee Falls Police Department and let them know that he wanted to change a few pieces of his original statement. He said that he had remembered some additional details regarding Sandy's disappearance. Sandy's boyfriend worked at the 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. shift and called in sick the day of Sandy's disappearance, and later admitted that he called her at least twice that day to see if Sandy would see him, but he said she couldn't afford to get there. He said he'd pay for her gas, and she agreed. Investigators scheduled a second interview with the boyfriend for that following Monday to include a polygraph test. When the boyfriend showed up on that Monday to the police department, he had his lawyer call the police and tell them that he would no longer be speaking to them anymore and would not be taking that polygraph test. In June, just a few months later, the investigators would get a tip that the boyfriend's father was a caretaker at the Mount Olive Cemetery in Milwaukee, and that Sandy's boyfriend also worked there in the past. Investigators brought in cadaver dogs that were trained on Sandy's scent from her hairbrush, and the dogs did alert around a fresh plot. It took a lot of work for investigators to get permission to dig that grave up, but when they did, they didn't find anything related to Sandy. When investigators searched Sandy's room for clues in her disappearance, they find a napkin with her handwriting with the address on it that was to the Mount Olive Cemetery. Multiple searches by family and investigators were done over the years trying to bring Sandy home. Sandy's sister remembers investigators telling her at one point, "Where there is no body, there is no crime." Those are the words that haunt her the most. Sandy's sisters say that her disappearance has affected the family members' lives, and they felt consumed in anger with grief, and it poured into every aspect of their lives still today. Investigators do believe that foul play is involved in Sandy's case and that it was possibly at the hands of her boyfriend, who is now a firefighter. In 2002, investigators conducted a 20-month John Doe probe into Sandy's case, and over 50 witnesses would testify before a grand jury. But the probe concluded without any indictments being issued. Sandy's father has since passed away, and they did purchase a cemetery plot next to him because they do believe Sandy is deceased, and they are waiting to bring her home.
There's someone out there that knows something, and they still haven't come forward.
She was a human being. And died when? We don't even know, or how or when. Just that she never came home.
Sandra is described as a Caucasian female with brown hair, blue eyes, 5'6", 150 to 160 pounds, and when she vanished, she was wearing a blue tweed jacket, black pants, carrying a large white purse. If you have any information in Sandra's case, please contact the Menominee Falls Police Department at 262-532-8700. Thank you for taking the time to get to know Sandy today, and don't forget, when you see those missing and murder posts on social media, hit like and share, because every time you share a face, you get closer to solving a case. And I will see you guys back here for another installment of 50 State Cold Case Spotlight, and we will be in Oregon.